long from now. The other thing that's interesting is, as you guys know, there is a midterm election. And 6 months ago, I would have told you the midterms would have been determined by mama bears, because the way things were going at that time, people were fed up with the mandates, and mama bears were going to school board meetings, and they were very upset that they were being silenced, and even the FBI had been sicked on them by the DOJ to treat them like hostile terrorists. So many of us thought going into the midterms, mama bears and mandates would rule the day. Well, what they surprised us with, the Supreme Court primarily, is there has now been the historic Roe versus Wade turnover, and the other historic, the prayer decision for the coach to pray, the Second Amendment, just a lot of historic major decisions. The Supreme Court didn't just hit a home run, they hit a grand slam for conservatives. And so what we're seeing now going into the midterms is they're not so much focusing on mandates and mama bears. I believe now they've changed the focus to the courts. And the belief in whoever you pick as your representatives will help affirm and choose judicial appointments. Now, the thing I think is interesting, if you guys remember, Barack Obama left, if I'm not mistaken, 148 to 150 seats he did not fill. When Donald Trump took office, he left a huge gap of judges unfulfilled. Now, some said the strategy was if Hillary got in, that would expedite some of the things that they wanted to do, because without some judges in place in the lower courts, they could just get the appeals quicker to the upper courts that they were trying to dominate. The backfire is when Trump was elected, he appointed over 300 judges, plus 3 judges to the Supreme Court. That has turned out to be huge. That will be his legacy. You may not like Operation Warp Speed, which I didn't. You may not like some of the other policies that he did. You may remember that he had the highest gas, or the lowest gas, prices in decades. He was the first time in 75 years America was energy independent for all of 2 years. So he did a lot of good things, but what Donald Trump will be known for is his judicial appointment, and he left a footprint in history that will be felt for really decades to come. What you'll see happen, and this is just me spitballing, the liberal side will want to push and try to get out their voter base based on the need to counteract these crazy conservatives in control of the courts. But you've got to remind this, if you are a liberal out there listening, Barack Obama left 148 seats vacant. Barack Obama helped Donald Trump inadvertently by leaving half of those 300 judicial appointments unfulfilled. If Barack Obama had filled those 148 seats, Trump would not have been able to fulfill as many judge appointments as he did. So in a way, the Trump legacy has a wink, wink, thank you to Mr. Barry Soetoro, as Obama. So it's interesting when you start looking at the logic and you look at the way things have played out. Because as we see what's going to happen in the probably next 2 to 3 years, more things will happen. And let me just give you one example. We all paid attention to Roe versus Wade being overturned, the Second Amendment, and the coach's prayer being listed as a First Amendment right. All 3 were huge. But what you may not have picked up on was the Oklahoma case. The liberals had pushed through the ability to have special laws on government land such as Indian tribal land, meaning they would not have to succumb to federal law or law. They had their own laws. And that ruling was only 2 years old. Trump's new conservative balanced court, if you will, overturned that. Why was that so important? What made that decision so monumental? It's because the plan B, they knew abortion was going to be overturned eventually. Look at all the trigger laws. All the states that had laws in place, they knew it was coming. They just didn't know when exactly. But they knew. So states were preparing with all these pre-passed pro-life laws. You call them trigger laws, meaning the moment Roe versus Wade was overturned, their laws immediately went to effect. That's why you call it trigger law. So what we found is that they had a plan B. They were going to try to use Indian reservations for federal abortion clinics in various red states to try to usurp the federal government. The Supreme Court was smart, and so that was their fourth big ruling. That Oklahoma case, when they ruled that federal law applies on all parts of U.S. territories, including tribal land, that took away any special opportunities they thought they would have to open up their death clinics for children. So I'm excited that the Supreme Court has obviously been very much deep in thought and taking care of business. So my hat's off to them. I'm not a big fan of Justice Roberts. As you guys know, he's kind of a middle guy. We don't know where he stands half the time. He could have killed Obamacare twice, and he let us down. There were several times his vote was on the balance of major decisions. But now that there's more conservatives, see, he even tried to hold back the Roe versus Wade. And what the rumor is, as Supreme Court Justice, he drug his feet. He was trying to get them to delay it till after the midterms. But they went ahead and pushed it through anyway. So you're going to have to find out in the midterms in about 100 plus days from now, will these decisions ignite the left, or will it ignite the right? Or will it make a difference at all? It's going to be interesting to see as we pay attention. We're about to go to a break here. This is the Patriot Pastor Show on Nuga Radio here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And if you're wanting to listen with a clear, crisp sound, you could say, go to NugaRadio.com, or just say, Alexa, play Nuga Radio on TuneIn. Or you can take your smartphone device and say, Siri, find Nuga Radio. And Nuga Radio will turn to a radio app such as TuneIn, and you'll get a great, clear reception anywhere in the country. It's amazing technology. I'll be right back. This is the Patriot Pastor.
You're listening to the